Hello and welcome to the first school board report of the new school year. I'm Emily Choleva, and joining me today is School Board President John Landers. Welcome.
Thanks, Emily. We're always glad to be back as a former BSTN student, and I'm just hopeful that you and your peers are excited to start the school year.
So let's begin with what's new at Boardman this year. So I noticed a lot of construction over the summer. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Sure. You know, the summer is really one of our big opportunities to be able to kind of make physical improvements across the district because it's the least disruptive to classes going on. And especially, it's been a priority about safety and security, but even now it continues to be more so. So we wanted to make sure we had some major upgrades. One thing I think to highlight is our new door locks in all the buildings, which is a barricade system. So that's been installed in every classroom district-wide. I think also on the outside, especially at the high school complex and kind of going through the other buildings, will be LED lighting in parking lots and outside of our stadium. I think you and other students who are busy all the time are, here early in the morning, here later in the evening, for different activities or practices. We want to make sure it's a safe and secure environment for everyone in our district. Also continue to add additional security cameras throughout the school district. We've added more than 60 so far, and we'll continue to evaluate new locations. I think at the high school, you've seen new doors on the exterior to make sure that they're updated and secure, and that's been done. And then we've also put a direct phone and phone line in each classroom in the district. So that's just to make sure that, our teachers have the ability to contact who they need to contact if they need to speak to a parent, or if we do have a situation that requires security, that we have a direct line into that room. And then a little bit more cosmetic is trying to put the finishing touches on the Spartan Stadium entrance with our donor wall and gates, and we're hopeful to have that done in the next month or so. And that's really a great project with our booster group and a lot of private community money that they've raised to fund that. And throughout all these projects, whether it's been funds through ESSER, funds through our permanent improvements, or whether even grant funding in some cases, we've really tried to minimize the amount of general fund dollars that have come in from the community. We always try to do our best to be fiscally responsible to the Boardman community, and we'll continue to be, through finding creative approaches to funding and grants. So.
Perfect. And I see here we have a Spartan quality report. And what do you want people to kind of take note of from this report?
Well, I think just, like the big thing to consider, and hopefully everyone in the Boardman community received one of these, but we also want to highlight some stories here because, people communicate, or people receive information in different ways. Some people like to read, some people like to watch a video, so we just wanted to make sure we highlight it, but it's really telling our story. Every day there are so many wonderful things going on in our school district, whether it be the academics, the arts, or athletics, and this is a way to highlight these stories on a K through 12 basis. And we just really, especially this year, want to recognize our community partners and our PTA. All those extras they throw in, whether it be for you and your peers or elementary school kids, things like Halloween parades or Santa's workshop, I think those just make such a difference in kind of your experience as a student. So we're really thankful to those groups. And I think we continue to try to show, especially with our hiring of a new and experienced treasurer and Mr. Giannetti, is trying to be and continuing to be a fiscally responsible district, using those ESSER funds that I mentioned earlier to improve things like air quality, but also to make sure these funds we receive also go into the classroom, because we're here to address learning and make sure our students and are ready, to go out into the world, but also address some of the learning gaps created by the pandemic, and making sure our teachers are prepared, because education is changing and will continue to change.
Yes, of course. And speaking of school finances, I understand that 2 renewal levies will be on the November ballot. Can you please tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, be glad to. I think it's important to highlight that these are both renewals, so there'll be no new additional taxes to our taxpayers. One is a 5.9 mil operating levy, so that can really kind of go under anything that's kind of considered an operating expense in the school district. I believe that was first passed in February of 2003, and it raises a little more than $4.9 million annually, and that will be a renewal, so it's a sizable chunk of our budget. And then the second one is a 1.6 mil permanent improvement levy that was originally passed in 1998, and then in 2013 it was passed to what's called a replacement levy, but it's to reset the effective rate to the original value. That raises about $1.3 million annually, and that's used for more things like physical improvements. So it could be used towards windows, technology upgrades, especially things like security or replacing a roof. And then we're proposing to make that a continuing levy. So that is just we continue to have access of those funds, and it's not a renewal that will have to be placed on the ballot every several years ago. So just I think important to really stress to you and to our audience that these are renewal levies. So.
Perfect. And I'm aware that on August 22nd at the board meeting, you recognized the Lady Spartan Strength, Weight, and Conditioning Program. What would you like to add about that?
Sure. So I think that's personally one of my favorite parts of all the board meetings is there's so many great things going on, and especially so many wonderful things that our students do, and especially for a program that's new, we wanted to take the opportunity to highlight them. It was a kind of a new summer program that lasted about 10 weeks for coaches and trainers, worked with approximately 120 of our female student athletes 3 times a week. So I think things like weight training, cardio training, running, and to make progress and to also to prepare them for the upcoming seasons. And I think it also helped really, build community among our student athletes as well. So we're encouraged by that, and I think we're hopeful that's something we'll continue to offer and think about, what can we also do during the school year. But we had several sponsors that helped kind of contribute to that program, including our Boardman Boosters Group, Boardman Athletics, Mark Starkey, who's an alumni from 1999, I believe, and Expert Designs.
All right, and is there anything else you would like to add for us today?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Landers. The next school board meeting is Monday, September 26th at Boardman High School. The public is always welcome. And for BSTN, I'm Emily Choleva. Have a great day.